What if I told you that the more present you are, the less attractive you may seem? There's a psychological approach that can flip this pattern completely. It makes him chase you even when you are nowhere around. This is what I call the Mirage method. Once you understand it, you won't have to second guess how to hold his attention, because real desire isn't about being in front of his eyes, it's about living inside his mind. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll see why being like a mirage is far more powerful than being like a mirror. If this already stirs something in you, pause for a moment and ask yourself, where am I being too available? Where am I giving away too much too fast? If you'd like to dive deeper into the psychology of attraction and learn step by step how to become an unforgettable presence in someone's life, leave a comment below. I read all of them. There are two kinds of women. The first one is the woman a man really enjoys being around. He laughs with her, feels comfortable. The chemistry is strong. It's a fun date. She's engaging, smart, entertaining, almost like a dream. He genuinely likes spending time with her. Then there is the second woman, the one who stays on his mind long after she's gone. It's not because she's less fun. In fact, she may be even more enjoyable. But when she isn't around, something changes inside his head. She becomes a lingering thought, an unanswered question, like a song stuck in his mind as he works, drives, or tries to fall asleep. She isn't just a memory, she becomes a presence in his thoughts. The first woman might get a text days later, something casual like, "Hey, I had a good time." But the second woman makes him check his phone over and over, wondering why she hasn't replied yet. He rereads their conversations, trying to decode her. Today, I'm not here to show you how to be a perfect date. I want to help you become that second woman. Think about this. What if that feeling of, I gave everything but he still lost interest, isn't failure, but the result of following the wrong guide? A guide passed down for generations, but one that doesn't work in today's world. What if being too kind, always around, too available, is actually what makes attraction fade? Consider this. Why do we love books or movies that have mystery? Why do layered, unpredictable characters stay with us long after the story ends? Because the human mind, especially a man's mind when it comes to attraction, is not wired to treasure what feels fully secure. It is wired to chase what feels precious. And in relationships, value is measured in a very specific way: uncertainty. What I'm about to explain isn't just about playing hard to get. That's shallow. What we're uncovering here is much deeper. It's the psychology I call the mirage effect. A mirage looks real, like water in the desert, but it stays just out of reach. When you're there in person, you're that oasis, alive, refreshing, real. But when you're gone, you become the mirage, a vision in his thoughts pulling him back, sparking his curiosity, making him wonder if what he felt with you was real. Are you ready to stop being the predictable, always there woman? Are you ready to be the thought that lingers? If yes, keep listening. This can change everything. First, you need to know this. For someone to miss you, they must first be allowed to feel your absence. Maybe this feels familiar. You had sparks with someone. Conversations flowed for hours. You laughed, locked eyes, and felt that undeniable connection. You left thinking this could be something real. You were open, genuine, kind, maybe even vulnerable. Then suddenly, nothing. Or maybe he replies, but with dry one-liners. His messages slow down. His interest seems to fade. You sit confused. Then the worry creeps in. Did I say something wrong? Was I boring? Did I ruin it? You replay every detail in your mind until you're drained. And worst of all, you begin feeling small. But here's the reality. The answer isn't hidden in every tiny detail. It's in the bigger picture. Maybe you didn't do anything wrong. Maybe you were too right. By following an outdated rule book, you gave too much too quickly, became too easy to reach, too present. Without realizing it, you erased one of the most magnetic parts of attraction: the mystery, the urge to pursue. Think of yourself as a film. If the opening scene reveals all the secrets, the ending, and every twist, who would sit through the rest? Even if the trailer was thrilling, the movie feels over before it starts. That's how attraction works too. If you reveal everything at once, it's like rolling the credits before the story even begins. This is why I want you to shift the script. If you stay with me until the end, You'll not only understand why men often pull back just as things feel serious, but you'll also learn how to use that space to your advantage. You'll discover how to leave just the right amount of silence, not to be forgotten, but to echo in his mind. You'll see how to use your absence as a tool, a silent force that keeps him coming back. That space is not weakness, it is your secret power. We'll look at one of the great paradoxes of dating today. In a time when everyone is online and constantly reachable, real influence comes from knowing when to hold back. You'll see why being an open book often leads to being skimmed, and how to transform into the kind of woman whose story he wants to keep reading. The Mirage effect isn't manipulation, it's a new way of understanding your value, and it begins with something very ancient about how men think, something that has always been there. To understand this effect, we have to step into a man's mind. It's not always simple, but there's one thing clear. It is fueled by an instinct as old as humanity itself. For thousands of years, the male brain wasn't shaped by texting, social media, or dating apps. It was built for action, solving problems, competing, and winning. At its base, it is wired to chase and to earn. When a man is drawn to a woman, this ancient system lights up. She's not just someone he likes, she becomes the prize, the goal. Her attention, her time, her affection, those become his mountain to climb. Every little success, whether it's her smile, a deep talk, or the first date, triggers his brain to release dopamine, the chemical of reward. It's the same rush he feels when he wins a tough game, finishes a big project, or solves a puzzle. Dopamine says, yes, keep going, you're close. Here's where the conflict happens. His energy thrives on the challenge, while yours often longs for connection and safety. You want to feel sure the bond is real, so you can open up. He wants to feel like he's earning his way to the top of the mountain, and that reaching it matters because it was not too easy. So what happens when you, with the purest intentions, give him everything quickly? You share your heart on the second date, clear your schedule for him, always reply fast, always show how much you care. Without knowing, you hand him the key, the map, and the final answer in one go. You erase the challenge. The adventure he subconsciously craves turns into a straight road with no twists. Even if the view at the end is stunning, it doesn't feel earned. And when something doesn't feel earned, motivation fades. It's not that he doesn't like you. He may even think you're incredible, but his ancient system quietly signals, goal completed, mission finished, and his mind drifts. This is when you feel him slip away. It's not personal, it's just his brain at work. His curiosity was satisfied before deep emotional bonds had the chance to fully grow. And here's the trap many women fall into. They believe the answer is to give more love, more time, more attention. But the truth is the opposite. What he actually needs is less, just enough to keep the chase alive, just enough mystery to keep dopamine flowing. He needs to feel there is more to uncover about you, more to reach for. You have to pause the story right at the best moment so he's eager to return for the next chapter, because if he gets the whole book on the first night, why would he open it again? We already know men are wired to pursue, but it goes further than that. It's not only about effort, it's about rarity. Look around the world. Why are diamonds valued when they're just compressed rock? Why do people wait hours for sneakers they don't even need? Why does rare art sell for millions? It's not utility, it's scarcity. Now apply this to yourself. Your true treasures are not clothes or things. They are your time, your focus, your emotional energy, your care. These are your rare gems. And like anything too easily given, if you hand them over without pause, their value feels less. Imagine a story of Laura and Mark. Their first date is magical. They talk, laugh, tease, and connect deeply. Laura goes home glowing. Without hesitation, she texts, "Just reached home. That was really amazing. You're such a fascinating person. We absolutely have to meet again." Mark reads the message and smiles to himself. That's sweet, he thinks. The next morning, Laura quickly sends another text. "Good morning. Did you sleep well? Hope you have a wonderful day." Mark checks it while hurrying to a meeting. He finds it thoughtful, but he's too busy to reply. Later that afternoon, Laura sends him a funny meme connected to a topic they had laughed about before. After that, she asks how his day has been. By the evening, her messages have turned into a full string of notes. It's clear she's interested, fully present with her energy. But now, let's take a look inside Mark's mind. Is Laura annoying him? Most likely not. Does he dislike her? Not at all. But deep down, something changes. He begins to feel there's nothing left to figure out. No sense of wonder, no curiosity, no space for his own effort. Without meaning to, Laura gave him the whole meal before he even felt hungry. She filled every little gap that could have allowed his interest to slowly grow. The kind of open space where longing is born. The kind of pause where he could have started missing her. And here's the twist that stings. Mark begins to pull away, not because he doesn't like her, but because he's being flooded with affection he never had to work for. Laura notices the shift. She senses something's off, so she panics and does what many people do. She tries harder. She sends a longer, more heartfelt message. Is everything okay? I feel like you're pulling away from me. And in that single moment, without realizing, she ends what little attraction was left. She's no longer the mystery he was drawn toward. She becomes a puzzle to fix, or worse, a pressure he'd rather avoid. Most relationships don't end because of a lack of feelings. They often end from too much communication too soon. They fade because we confuse being available with being attractive. We assume that always replying fast and always showing up in their inbox proves we care. But instead of becoming the song they can't stop humming, we turn into background noise they barely notice anymore. And then comes the big lie that keeps this cycle repeating. The lie that says, if someone truly likes you, none of this matters. That's the biggest misunderstanding in modern dating. Maybe that's true after 20 years of marriage, but in the early fragile stage of creating a spark, where the flame is still small, every detail counts. It's the difference between a fire that keeps glowing all night and a match that burns out in seconds. And now you reach that moment, that emotional stop sign. You were kind, you were genuine, you showed care and put your heart out there. And still, it didn't work. Or maybe it worked for a little while and then vanished into silence. You feel tired of guessing, tired of trying to figure out what you did wrong. At this point, it's tempting to take one of two paths. Either give up completely and believe that all men are the same, or close yourself off, grow cold, and become someone who plays the same games just to protect your heart. But pause here for a moment. Take a deep breath, because right now, in this exact moment of frustration, something powerful can happen. This is where everything can shift. I'm about to share the piece of truth that completes the puzzle. If you really take this in, it can change everything you believe about attraction. The real core of the Mirage effect. Here it is. The real shift doesn't come from pretending you're busy. It doesn't come from ignoring texts or acting like you don't care. Those are just tricks. The true change begins in your mind, in how you see yourself. It starts the moment you stop asking, am I good enough for him? And start asking, is he truly good enough for my time? Read that again. Let it sink deep. Let that one question reshape your thinking. In that single shift, something powerful is born. You stop chasing. You stop trying to impress. Instead, your confidence comes from inside you. Your worth is no longer something you need him to confirm. You already know it. And now he's the one who has to prove he deserves a place in your world. Here's where the truth shows itself. A man doesn't fall in love with someone who's always available at any moment. He falls for someone whose time feels special, like a reward. He's not drawn towards someone who hands over everything right away. He's pulled towards someone whose life is already full of passion, goals, friendships, and growth. Someone whose days are rich and meaningful. And when she chooses to give him an hour, it feels like a gift, something rare, something earned. Your attention is not open for everyone. It's not something just anyone with your number can demand. Your attention should be treated like a prize. His effort, his kindness, his steady consistency, the way he adds joy to your already beautiful life. These are the things that earn your time. When you start living with this way of thinking, everything changes. You no longer feel pressured to fill every silence because you enjoy your own peace. You don't rush to reply because you're already busy living. You don't reveal everything about yourself right away because you understand that true connection grows slowly. It's a soft dance, not a rush checklist. Here's one line that sums it up. Someone doesn't just value the time spent with you. They value the honor of being given that time. He wants to feel chosen, like he passed a test, like he earned something something not given freely to everyone. And if your presence is handed out without meaning, without pause, without boundaries, it gradually loses its shine. But if your presence feels like the prize at the end of a journey, then you become his greatest goal, his deepest wish. And you may be asking yourself, okay, I understand this changes everything, but how do I do this in real life? How do I become this valuable presence without seeming cold, arrogant, or distant? How do I show my worth without needing to spell it out? The answer is much simpler and more graceful than it seems. Let's walk through it. The question is, how do you turn this way of thinking into something real? How do you become that magnetic presence, that powerful illusion, without falling into the trap of looking fake, too distant, or not genuine? The answer isn't in pretending to be someone else. It's about letting go of fear and neediness that were never truly yours. This isn't about creating a new mask. It's about uncovering the strongest, most natural version of yourself. It comes down to three main foundations. Forget the old dating rules. This is about how you live your daily life. The first step is learning how much of yourself to share. Imagine your time and energy like an expensive perfume. The kind that comes in a tiny crystal bottle, not meant to be splashed everywhere. Just a little on your pulse points. Light, mysterious, unforgettable. That's how you should treat early connections. This idea shows up clearly in two daily habits. First, be the one to end the conversation. In psychology, there's something called the Zeigarnik effect. We remember things left unfinished more than the ones that ended neatly. Apply this to your talks and meetings. End the moment when things are going well. When you're both laughing or sharing a meaningful moment, smile and say, "This was wonderful, but I have a busy morning tomorrow. I should get some rest. Let's catch up again soon." Do you feel that shift? It doesn't push him away. It shows your priorities matter. You leave him curious. You give him something to think about, a reason to come back. Second, create space for him to miss you. That means stop believing you must always respond right away. It's not about waiting some set number of hours. It's about truly being involved in your own life. When a message comes in, don't treat it like it's the only glass of water in the desert. Finish your task. Stay present. Then respond when it feels right. Maybe in 10 minutes, maybe in 3 hours. You're not following a script. Your life isn't that predictable. That pause gives him time to wonder, imagine, and grow more curious about you. The second foundation, and the most powerful, is creating a life you genuinely love. This is the real engine of the Mirage effect, because this isn't about pretending your life is exciting. It's about actually making it exciting. There's nothing more attractive than a woman who is deeply in love with her own life. So here's your challenge. Take a notebook and list the things you've always wanted to do just for yourself. Maybe it's learning a musical instrument. Book that lesson. Maybe it's going on that trip with friends you've delayed for years. Choose a date. Maybe it's finishing that project you left on the shelf. Dedicate even 1 hour a day to it. Call your loved ones. Read books that inspire you. Exercise not for anyone else, but to feel your own power. Become the main character of your own story. When you live like this, something magical happens. You stop placing him at the center of your world. You see him not as the goal, but as someone who might join you in your already beautiful journey. You're no longer sitting by the phone waiting. You're busy living. That independence, that wholeness, is unbelievably magnetic. He will see your life already shining, and that will awaken something in him. Not the urge to rescue you, but the desire to earn a place in your story. The third step is how you share your value. It's in the way you speak about your life. Speak with passion, not with need. Let him hear excitement when you talk about your career, your hobbies, your friends. Change how you phrase things. Don't ask for reassurance. Speak with quiet confidence. Instead of, "When will I see you next?" Try, "I really enjoyed our conversation. You gave me something to think about." The first looks for something. The second gives something. It flips the energy. You're not asking, you're sharing. When you live by these three ideas, the Mirage effect stops being a trick. It becomes the natural glow of your strength. You're no longer the woman waiting by the phone. You're the woman he hopes will text again. Think about how far you've come. From being confused by silence to now understanding what real attraction is built on. We've cleared away myths, thrown out outdated tactics, and built a stronger way of seeing yourself. But remember, if you treat the Mirage effect only as a way to keep his attention, you'll miss its real gift. Because all along, this was never only about him. It was about you, about putting yourself first, about remembering your time, your dreams, your happiness matter, even when no one else is watching. It's about returning to yourself, about loving your own life so deeply that you don't need someone else to complete it. Here's the twist about attraction. The more you chase it, the more it slips away. The more you seek approval, the less visible you become. But the moment you stop hunting for it and start building your own path, you suddenly notice someone else is trying to keep up with you. Think back to the moments when you felt most alive. Maybe when you moved to a new city, when you started a project you loved, or when you laughed with people who understood you fully. In those moments, you were so focused on your own joy that you didn't even notice when someone started noticing you. And wasn't it often in those moments when you weren't searching for love that love quietly found you? That's your proof.